Warning: the following framework will permanently dismantle your relationship with compromise, but the bad compromise. By continuing, you accept full responsibility for becoming immune to the soft tyranny of the playing it safe. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you stood firm on something you believed in, even when it was uncomfortable? Not just a minor preference, a meaning something big, something strong in your life. But a core principle where compromise means betraying yourself. You told yourself you're being flexible, adaptable, reasonable, but here's the truth probably you're avoiding, and I used to. You've been systematically conditioned to seek the path of least resistance. All of us. What you're experiencing isn't wisdom, it's a gradual erosion of your convictions. Call this the compromise cascade, a state where each small concession makes the next one easier until you no longer recognize the man you've become. You've not just being agreeable, you're actively participating in the dissolution of your own identity by others. A revealing study from University of Michigan published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology tracked individuals over multiple years measuring well-being against what they termed self-concordance, the alignment between personal values and daily activities. The findings were surprising. Individuals whose daily activities align with their core values reported significantly higher levels of psychological well being and life satisfaction. Even more revealing, research from Stanford University demonstrated that when people act in ways that are inconsistent with their stated beliefs, they experience what's known as cognitive dissonance. Probably you've heard of it. A state of psychological discomfort that can lead to negative self evaluation and reduced self esteem. This wasn't just about being principled, it was about maintaining a coherent identity strong enough to pursue ambitious goals without mattering people's opinion. Here's what's happening biologically in your brain inside of you. Your brain contains specialized neural circuits called value pathways that governs your decision making and sense of self. Every time you compromise on something you believe in, you're not just making the pragmatic choice of it. You're actually creating what the neuroscience professionals call cognitive dissonance, a state of mental discomfort that your brain desperately tries to resolve. Research from the University of California, Los Angeles, shows that cognitive dissonance activates specific regions of the brain, including the anterior cingulate cortex and the insula, which are associated with emotional processing and conflict. But resolution. The easiest resolution: change your beliefs to match your behavior rather than changing your behavior to match your beliefs. This creates a dangerous feedback loop where each compromises makes the next one easier, gradually eroding the very convictions that give you life, meaning, and direction. You're literally just rewiring your brain to prioritize social acceptance over self respect. Now, I will explain you this. How does it actually work? So, when you do something bad, there is external and internal causes, right? Internal is, it's the person's fault. External is, is external things. Oh, the train was late. External things, right? So when you are self not positive, but you are extremely acceptance, you accepting all of your excuses, then you become to create internal excuses. So, what I mean with this is what you should do, the correct thing to do is once anything happens, anything is your fault. That's the good thing, the correct thing. Now, on the other hand, what most of the people do, majority of the world do, they do blame external causes for anything that happens to them, which means if something happened to me, it was an external thing. Oh, I got late to work, the train. Oh, I got late to my class, uh, the train, right? You blame everything externally instead of blaming internally, as you should, because everything is your fault. Because you could have go 30 minutes before the approximate time it takes you to get to work, to get to school, so you could prevent this from happening to you and get actually early to the class or the workplace, right? So remember, good thing is internal causes. So you blame that on yourself, right? And analyze what could be done better, what could be improved. You need to self analyze without being, without giving you mercy. You have to blame things in yourself because that's the only way you're going to learn, improve, and analyze yourself to see what's going to be done better the next time. And when something happens, you take full self accountability. That's a good thing, that's a positive thing. Okay? The solution isn't to become inflexible or dogmatic. That's just another form of the weakness, right? What you need is actually what's called strategic intransigence, the systematic process for identifying and defending your core principles while remaining adaptable in all other areas. First, you must conduct what I call a values audit, brutally honest assessment of what you truly believe versus what you merely say to avoid conflict. Second, establish what I call non negotiables, a small set of core principles that you will not violate under any circumstances, regardless of the cost. Third, create conviction triggers, specific situations where you've previously compromised, now reprogrammed as opportunities to stand firm this time. For example, if you typically agree to things you don't want to avoid, disappointing others, for example, practice saying, I need to think about that instead of immediately agreeing it, right? Buying yourself time to consult your values, right? Don't take a decision in impulses. Complement this with the integrity tracking, daily review of whether your actions align with your state principles or you just did things because of external pressure. This isn't just about being principled, it's about reclaiming your masculine authority, right? Your self control over your decisions. Through history, men who commanded respect weren't just strong and wealthy, they had unwavering convictions that guided their decisions and their plans and their goals and inspired loyalty in others to follow those same things, right? These weren't abstract beliefs, they were practical principles demonstrated through consistent action. In our modern world, it's not like that, but where compromise is celebrated as a virtue and conviction is condemned as extremist, right? Most men have lost touch with this essential source of masculine power. And what's happening because this is being lost? We have a generation of men who feel adrift, who get the sense that they are not being authentic, right? And they don't know why. Every time you are compromising to these values, you are going against yourself in some decisions you're taking, right? It's because you just want to avoid conflict and you want also to just be approved by everybody. Now, I need you to take immediate action. First, comment below with one core principle you will no longer compromise on. Why? You're making a compromise to yourself with myself also. Make it specific and actionable. Second, implement the values audit. Starting today, track whether your daily decisions align with your stated beliefs. Third, share this with another man who's eroding his identity through compromise. True strength isn't just maintaining your own integrity, it's helping others also. You need to help support your community, recognize their own. In our next video, I'll reveal the social value equation, how to calculate and increase your worth in any social professional setting, regardless of your current status. The world doesn't need more men who are agreeable, it needs men who are principled. Which will you be choosing today is your decision. But how does it work? You need to understand that sometimes there is things that come to our minds, to our lives, through peer pressure, through leader pressure, and also this brings us a self pressure in a negative way. So you do things because other people are pressing you. They putting pressure on you to take a decision just because they are gonna be happy if you take that decision. It's the kind of example when your parents want you to be a surgeon so you could do operations on them, right? It's like when you have a cousin who's like, "Hey, you should become a surgeon." Oh, why? So you can do surgeries on me. And you feel self pressure to that. You feel a little bit of peer pressure to that. It's just an example, of course, but there's bigger things that really come into life, like when somebody offers you drugs, when somebody offers you alcohol in a party, all this kind of stuff where you feel pressed. And instead of that, you should actually take a moment, step back, reflect, and say, I will let you know. I have to reflect about it, right? And this actually brings you power and gives you power because people know that you are not their toy, right? They cannot make you do or take any decision. You take your own decisions if they benefit you, right? This is the main recommendation: is take a step back, think about it, get cold-minded, reflect about it, see if they align with your internal values, and then you, after some moment, hours, days, you get back to them. Of course, if it's an opportunity, think immediately, does this benefit me? If it's not opportunity, think, just step back, breathe, take your time, cool your mind, and then take a decision. See you on the next video.